We're about the same age. What year did you graduate? 72?
74.
Yeah, so that makes me think that you and I probably went to clubs together about the same time. I mean, back then people went
possibly,
clubbing.
yes.
I mean, they don't do that anymore. But you went clubbing back then. You went to Cajuns. You went
Studebakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the L.A. had the Troubadour and Studio 50. I can't remember which number that was.
And not that I went to the Bobby Sox many times, but I remember when they closed the Holiday Inn, my wife, she goes, don't go to another auction. But when they closed that down, I bought so many things.
So you're unabashedly about this, but chances are we've probably met each other in a club before.
Probably so. Because I did in my 20s.
It could be popular. I could have maybe seen you.
Yes, but
without
iPhones.
Your clothes.
Well, for a short time, yes, I always loved priding myself that I would never condemn anything anybody does to make a living. But yes, I was fortunate that I made money in many different ways, and I literally was buying cows at the sale barn. That's another story because I didn't know a thing about a cow.
You're not going to tell everybody what I'm talking about, are you? You're over there grinning from ear to ear. I love this about you. You are unabashedly honest about it.
Yes, and
say it.
And I had a great time.
What is it?
I had a stage name called the Metro Express.
You were a Chippendale dancer. You're just not going to say it.
And
I love that name.
And
what was it?
Metro Express. And then the song was "A Party Train" by the Gap Band. Remember the Gap Band?
If this room was bigger, you would have to get up and show us some of your moves.
Yes.
Oh my Lord!
I think women would probably pay me to put my clothes on versus take them off at this point.
So you used to be a jock though, and a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I enjoyed sports. I enjoyed working out, and
that really speaks to what I talked about in the beginning. You are a testament to a hard worker, and the reason that endears you to me is because that just shows you're willing to do anything. You're a scrapper. You're hardworking. You take risks and you do things. That's a great testament to what an entrepreneur is somebody who takes a lot of risks and just keeps pushing forward, trying new things all the time. We're going to talk about your career as an inventor. As a child, were you always taking stuff apart at your mother's house and driving her crazy?
Yes, I remember small toys. I would end up taking them apart. Of course, I have 4 sisters, and they didn't enjoy that part.
Tear the heads off their dolls.
But what was interesting?
What's making their neck turn?
Yes, and what's so interesting, when you would open up a toy, it was the inside of a Spam can or something, because so many things were coming from Japan.
What?
And after the war, we sent a lot of they bought a lot of our scrap metal. And so those toys, you would open up, and the inside, it still would have the label of the type of vegetable or company that actually utilized that can.
The original recycling. We should still be doing that. Well, that's interesting. All right, you have 4. Oh, tell us the first thing you patented.
What's interesting, my name...
Or actually maybe the first thing you invented, and then the first thing you patented.
Yeah, I'll talk about the first thing I invented, but what's interesting on patents, just because a man's name is not, or a woman's name is not on the patent, a lot of times the person that really did the work didn't get their name on the patent. And we could talk all day long about patent, but I know a lot about patents and the patent attorneys. I call them tall building attorneys out of New York City. I had a lot of those working for me. But the first thing I invented after I left Hendrix College 2 years, I went to Fayetteville to be a civil engineer. And you take an introductory to engineering course. It's a drafting course, and you had to come up with a design of something. So I saw a need of an aluminum can smasher. So I actually built that aluminum can smasher. It was a prototype completely made out of wood, and I did it in my dad's shop. I figured all the moment connections, the design, the size of the bolts. Didn't do anything with it, made an A in the class, and then probably about 8 years later in a lumber yard, I saw that aluminum can smasher.
You were like, I made that.
Yeah, I thought, why didn't I do something with that?
Is that when you first started thinking, I need to start patenting my ideas?
No, I never thought about patenting things. I'm always the guy, you got to get from A to Z, and how do you get there? And you figure out along the way how to do that. And if you didn't come from money or influence or power, you've got to figure out how to get to Z. And so it wasn't about ever chasing a patent. I've had a lot of young people come to me and said, I've got a patent. I'm working on a patent. And they said, we hear you're the guy. And I said, have you got a good life? Do you have
got
a
a good
family?
what?
I said, do you have a good life? Do you have a family?
Why?
Do you have a good job? Because making it in the arena is very difficult.
But you did, didn't you?
I did it, and I believe anybody. That's what's great about this country. But you have got to have guts. You got to be someone that will never stop once you go down that road. And so most people, if they've got a good life and they got a good job and they've got a family. See, I didn't have a family yet. I just met Penny when I got ready to come out of the chute, and I'd been to most every bank in Central Arkansas. Even to this day, some of the bankers say, "I didn't see you coming, John." And now, bankers have helped me get where I am. My professionals have helped me. My employees have helped me get where I am today. But I'm a guy that I didn't have access to capital.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Do you have to have access to capital to get a patent?
No, you can.
Can you write it yourself, file it yourself? Do you recommend that?
Well, to make sure it holds up, you're going to have to hire a lawyer. Okay. And so there's so many patents that are never worth the lawyer fees that it took to get
You
it.
have 14?
No.
Oh, that's how many I saw online. How many do you really have?
No. And like I told you, my name's not on those patents.
Oh.
I'm the guy, and I guess you're probably alluding to the first company that I got highly involved in. I was the guy that basically a company came and got and said, "John, you're the guy that can develop this product." And so I moved to West Texas, where I began the R&D process.
For what company?
It was called U-Liner. It was a product, a trenchless technology, where you reline underground sewer pipes. And there was only one other company in the world at the time did that, and it was a publicly traded company. I knew that if this would work, I would become publicly traded. But still, when I got turned down by all the banks, I said, how am I going to get there? But long story short, I finally remortgaged my home, because if you're going to remortgage your home, you got to do it while you've got a job.
That's right.
I remortgaged my home, pulled capital out, and with Penny as my new girlfriend, I walked away from my engineering job and started my first company with not a single customer.
But I thought you said you went to Texas and worked for a publicly traded company where you...
It wasn't publicly traded. I had gone to develop this product.
So they said you can do it, but you have to start your own company to do it for us.
Well, what happened is, and I've learned in life, my parents taught me if you shake someone's hand and you got a deal, you got a deal.
Absolutely.
Well, you can't do that in corporate America.
Oh.
I did the deal on a handshake for an X% of this company in 1 year. And in a year, that's why everybody's listening out there, you get a lot of experience in life. But basically, I didn't get the stock. I was terminated.
So you moved to West Texas. You did your job. You got them what they wanted, and they stole your idea.
When I asked for the stock, well, it wasn't my idea, but I was the one that was perfecting it. And when they let me go, I got my job back. I always know, don't burn the bridges behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I came back and got my old job back.
In Little Rock.
Yeah, and then they came to me months later.
The people in Texas?
I don't really want to give them a whole lot of
but the people in Texas came back to you.
And they said, hey, we need you, and mainly we couldn't make it work properly.
You need to come back and finish the job.
I basically said, I'm not going to work for you guys, and this is what I want. So basically I ended up, before it was over, the biggest installer in the United States of this patented product.
When you said this is what I want, what did you want?
I wanted territory. Just like if you get a McDonald's franchise for Little Rock or the state of Arkansas.
So you said, I'm not going to come to work for you, but I'm going to start my own company. I want a territory, and I'm going to perfect this in my territory, and I'll own my own.
And I'm going to deliver the technology so that everyone can prosper. And I knew how to make it.
But this area is mine.
Yeah, and so before it was over, I was in 27 states before I actually got out of the business. And I was on the road constantly. But it was the American dream. It was an unbelievable ride.
How many years?
I actually incorporated my company in 91 with no loan, and I earned an SBA loan in 1993. I remember I went to Terry Renault over Twin City Bank, just kept going in and seeing him. He's sitting there with that cigar in his hand. And
so how many years is that?
Well, I started in 91, earned the SBA, and you earn them. They don't give them to you. So I started in 1991, earned the SBA loan in 1993, and sold my company to the public markets in 1998.
Oh, what a ride.
If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture of Kerry's face in the center of the screen.
To watch the full-length interview, click the video in the top right. For more interview highlights, click the video in the bottom right. Thank you for watching.